Chat, Peasant Chat. We talk to poor people every Sunday, 9:30 to 11, until 1320 Video decides to come out with a Pleasant Chat or something similar. I think 1320 Didios as a channel should happen where you do nothing but gay shit to racers, but then you got to have the racers kind of have them comply and be in on the joke. So it's probably going to be something I do like in a parking lot or something, because nobody's going to be nobody's wanting to be on camera and be in on the joke. Today, what we're going to talk about is the semi-announcement or the hints that the CT5 Blackwing series of vehicles are going to go away because Cadillac is going to go electric no matter what. But not only because of that, it's because the sales aren't great. The sales are dropping off, and there's a reason that it dropped off, because it didn't really upgrade from the previous generation. The first CT5 Blackwing makes the same power as the latest, and there is no real anything over the horizon that says it's going to make more power or have many more options. It's just going to be 3 years of the same vehicle. So yeah, I would understand why that's going away. Also, the $100,000, what do you get for $100,000? You don't really get much for $100,000 when, again, there are better options out there for that kind of money. We've already talked about this with the Mustang. We'll also talk about the ZR-1 Corvette potentially going turbo. I will show you the setup I'm talking about, because when I started working for Lund back in 2016 and 2017 again, I knew that there was a hat that fit a lower GT500 manifold, which is already air to water. So if you can incorporate that into the design, and if Ryan Eckhart can make a twin turbo manifold into a single or a dual, I prefer twin, just because if you're going to do it all the way. You're already there. I'll show you the hat. We'll talk about that potential thought process, but not before Mr. Bill O'Reilly tells all the peasants. We'll do it live. Okay, you probably didn't hear that because I'm stupid, and I'm hoping that this sound comes through, but if it doesn't, whatever. I forgot to click one button. You probably didn't hear anything. That's okay. Fuck it. PMAS, Nick James and PMAS, the best cold air intakes on the planet. Nobody else matters. Fuck you if you buy any other cold air intake, and if your tuner tells you, hey, what cold air intake do you have in it, and you don't say PMAS, you're gay. DNAPformers, DNAPformers.com, DNAPformers. You're going to get your PMAS cold air intake there. You're going to get your fuel systems there. Well, I don't know what's happening with Fore Innovations fuel systems. Seems like they're dropping the ball on a lot of shipments. People are wondering what the fuck's going on. I don't know. I don't work for them. I don't get kickbacks. I can't answer your questions. DNAP Performance. Parts Farm, PartsFarm.com. Parts Farm is going to get you complete engine pullouts. I saw a kit for $8,500. Gen 2 transmission and motor. You add a $1,500 control pack. You have a complete running shit for under $10,000. Unbelievable. PartsFarm.com. Two Auto Solution. Rami Zanan, Two Auto Solution. He had a little barbecue yesterday in Customer Appreciation Day. I can't believe how many cars he works on his own. Shout out to him. His hustle is unmatched. And Bellac Industries, he's more of a boat guy now. Not now, but he's always been a boat guy. But he makes a little bit of everything. But check out his wheels, lug nuts, a little bit of everything going on down there. And if you sell drugs, that's what you got. The Bellac brand is let's just say high on the list of people that move some yayo. Bilavesh Nick, Arturo Mosillo, Money 540, all day, every day gave me $10. Says, hope you enjoyed your 3-day weekend. Alex got plenty of Toto. Appreciate the content and consistent information. F1320. That's right. 1320 released another video. I went in there talking that shit. They deleted them. I'm still going to go in there talking that shit, but that's okay. The war has just started. That is just the beginning. I literally am going to do everything possible to make them not maybe change, but let's make some video off of their shit, right? Let's say they want to skim off of the SEO and the hashtags, and I'll skim off of theirs. No problem. Turbo CSO, John Jones, Joe Jackson, 50 Stallion, 94 GT Vert, Z303, Camzilla, JD Swag, Frank Donahue, Mark Christensen, JD Swag, D-Rock Fox, Cobra 460 a couple of times, CJM, Diego Flores, Clint Stroke, RoboSouth, Douchetown, Gregory Upwich, more pubes, more boost, Ken Phillips, Craig Walls, Billet Noonan Man himself, Dixon, Sam Morales, Slow, S197, Nardi Mercado, Yogan Lates, Alfredo Diaz. Oh, this thing's already starting to be an asshole. It's already starting to slow down. DJ Lux, Clean 93 GT, Underrated, Jeremy Platt, Candice Lupus, Native Shift, Bowens Motorsports, Tina. Bowens Motorsports sounds interesting. It says, good morning. Yesterday's update was awesome. Twin Turbo Coyote swap for the win. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Peter Chow, let's fucking go. LFG. Some guy just said LFG. Didn't say who he was or anything. That's interesting. Ninja, Carlos Duran, Michael Hadziki, Mr. My computer plug. Third Coast Headgames says holla. Ninja Man, Ankit, something says failed. Cody, Lewis, Nathan, Desert 1320. Cadillac missed the mark on the Blackwing. It's hard to justify $100,000+ price tag. You're 100% right about that, and we'll talk about that. Joseph says, so they're ending the Blackwing. Do you think Cadillac will make a sports car again? I don't think so, but it'll be interesting. I don't pull out, but Parts Farm does. Granny Macchiato, Isaiah, and Mini by Madman. Let's get right to the meat of it. Let's hear what Brian Mello had to say on Instagram, on his Instagram post, talking about this exact same thing.
This isn't true. The 668 horsepower, 6.2 liter supercharged Cadillac CT5 Blackwing, the brand's high performance sedan, which is arguably one of, if not the best high performance sedans you can buy right now, and its little brother, the 472 horsepower twin turbo 3.6 liter V6 CT4 Blackwing, might be driving off into the sunset after this current generation. According to GM Authority, despite what appears to be a pretty significant shift away from EVs industry-wide, the internal combustion-powered CT4 and CT5 are expected to be replaced by all-electric versions. They're also expected to have styling that's more in line with the Cadillac Celestiq and Cadillac Escala concept, which is more of like a sportback design more than the traditional sedan form factor that we currently have. Now, CT4 sales in 2024 saw a drop of 27%. CT5 dropped by nearly 8%. Meanwhile, the all-electric Cadillac Lyriq increased by 111%, making it the company's second best-selling model after the Cadillac Escalade. Those numbers certainly don't help the case on keeping the CT4 and CT5 around. But the good news is they should continue to be available through the 2026 model year. So if you've been thinking about picking one up, you've still got a little time. Just not much.
So it is interesting because Cadillac was never known for performance until the CTS, in my opinion, came out, right? Like, name a Cadillac that was fast pre-CTS. CTS-V, V2, V1, V2, V3, and now the Blackwing. They weren't really known as that, so they don't have a heritage. I mean, my dad drove a Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham. That's what I took my driving test on. So I don't know that this is like a detriment, but if you're in the market of tuning these, modifying these, you know, there goes another car that you cannot support anymore because it's literally gone. I still think the V3s are better looking than this car, but this car is lighter and has better goodies. 2025 Cadillac CT5 Blackwing first drive, going loudly into that good night. Motor Trend article came out November 19, 2024. So this has been a while. Let's get all the way to the bottom where they talk about the future of this vehicle. An uncertain future. Exactly how much time the Blackwing has left is anyone's guess. Cadillac isn't saying and likely doesn't know. Those of you that are up on politics may be thinking the state execution is imminent in the inauguration of the second Trump administration. But it's far from a sure thing. Though President Trump has historically been a champion of fossil fuels and anti-EV, he's made statements both ways during the last campaign, promoting energy independence while also acknowledging that he has to be pro-EV because Elon Musk is one of his top supporters. What emissions and fuel economy policies the second Trump administration will implement remain to be seen in writing. So that's interesting because Lee Zeldin hardcore deregulating the Environmental Protection Agency, or defunding, still is not going to save this Cadillac, because at the end of the day, you gotta sell. Like, you have to sell product. This is a beautiful car, but let's be honest, and I hate to sound like a broken record, you can get a BMW sedan for cheaper money than a Cadillac Blackwing and go faster. So this is one of those crazy shifts in the automotive landscape where BMW is starting to tackle everything performance-wise in the market. You can get a coupe, M2. You can get a M3. You can get I forget the large coupe. The one that's larger, is it M5 or M6? I forget, but it's a bigger two-door than the M2. All of them have either the S58 or the B58. That engine is badass. There is no denying that. And how I used to talk about the Gen 2 Mustang is how now people are starting to talk about whatever generation. And guys, those of you that are up on BMW knowledge, let me know. Is there a nomenclature or generation of BMW that encompasses that whole B58, S58 timeline? Because for me, Gen 2 Mustang in the Mustang world is king still. The operating system, someone said it's the M4. Yeah, the M4 is the bigger coupe. So they're occupying that space. They're occupying they encompass everything. And if you really want to get into it, I would dare to say that even in the SUV market, it's real difficult to ignore what BMW has done with their product in the last 7 years. Coupe, sedan, bigger coupe, and the SUVs. I get it. You don't like how it sounds. It sounds like a fart. It sounds like a burble tuned piece of shit, but it performs. So the Blackwing to me is a beautiful car. Alejandro Flores is buying a manual Blackwing if he has the money, or a previous generation V3 auto, but the problem is transmission, direct injection. I'm not a big fan of the DI stuff at all, but it's designed to work with the DI. So whatever. I'm just not a fan because when you want to make big power, you got to supplement that in a different way with port injection. And I wish every Chevy of that generation had what the C7 ZR-1 had and the Mustang has. The dual fueling PI and DI. Ask Carlos Vergara, ask Valley 10 Speed right now, how many direct injected Fords have issues that he's dealing with. He has had to deal with direct injection issues, and people say, isn't it better? Understand this, guys. It is a Band-Aid. Ford did not design the Coyote around direct injection. Ford installed direct injection on an engine that is designed to work with port injection better. The DI is just supplemental, fuel economy standards and emissions, startup and fuel economy and 10-speed. That is the whole reason the 10-speed and the DI exist in the Mustang. So I'm not surprised that these cars are going to go away. And I think this is just the market talking. The brothers, look, I live in a neighborhood that's, you know what I'm saying? And the brothers are now looking at the BMWs like, man, that bitch is hot. Gone are the days where they're going with the supercharger bullshit. And then now they look at those cars as, not so desirable. And they look at the BMWs, they're like, you look better in one of them. It's a status symbol. And I think BMW has done the right thing by just offering different configurations, a motor that's robust and makes power. So the competition has to keep up with that. The Mustang is dying. You see it. It's dying on a vine. Unless people start tuning it, that is going to die. Ford, the Mustang is going to die unless you do something drastic to save it. And I think what BMW did is going to be the death nail for everyone else. It's a fuel efficient vehicle. It's 6-cylinder turbo. People don't care about the sound. If you can have a 9-second and 8-second setup with relative ease. So we'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the ZR-1, right? So I put out an update video yesterday, which is doing really well based on what my channel normally gets. Getting close to 10,000 views in a day is not really that heard of, but the fact that people are viewing that video and commenting 150 or 160 comments deep now, people are now realizing that this is real. A lot of people, I think, thought that I was just fucking around. I just threw a motor in the thing until then they saw, oh shit, he made an oil pan. Oh shit, he got a bell housing made. Oh shit, he got radiator, AC condenser mounted. This guy's going after it. So I've been slowly plotting away, planning away. And now once the motor mounts get installed, then I'll be able to take it down to Ryan Eckhart, rent out a lift from Lund Racing, and hopefully Ryan can get in there and make turbo stuff happen. And I'm going to try to get dual twin turbo. I'm going to try to have them routed to the exhaust. I do not want turbos mounted by the asshole of this car. I just don't want that. If Ryan says that's the only place they'll fit, I'm going to protest. But if he feels that's the best way, why? Scavenging pumps, lines, pipe going up, pipe going back. It's just, you want to talk about a packaging nightmare. I'd rather have everything under mid-mount and have it exit properly. Even if you have to sacrifice on pipe diameter, I'm not looking to make over 1,000 on this car, because then you just get really dumb stuff. So if I can make 1,000, have minimal back pressure, smaller-ish turbos that spool up quick, that's all that matters. But the hat that I was talking about in that video, a lot of people were like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Well, I found the video from World Cup, published on Haltech's website. Brian Devilbliss used to have the Devil's Reject, or maybe he still does. I don't know what happened to Brian. He had one of the coolest GT500s out there that Evolution had a part in building, but I think when it got to real Billy Badass stuff, somebody else built it. But that hat right there, this exact hat is what I'm talking about. This bolts on to a GT500 bolt pattern blower. See, it still has the neck for the GT5. It still has GT500 stuff. This is a GT500 5.8 liter engine. And this right here is literally the hat I'm talking about. And it allows you to make a hat basically that you can put a single throttle body on it, and the hood clearance will be favorable because I should be able to leave the hood on the Corvette, the OEM one. So that's the hat. I don't know who makes it. I talked to Chuck Wrzwinski, and he's like, oh, there's not big demand, blah, blah, blah. But that's the hat I want. It bolts onto the lowers, making it an air to water. But I still am going to pre-cool the charge air temp, maybe by a small air to air. Remember when Ty built that Mustang for the cheap drag car thing? He did not intercool the air charge temp, and it was 220 plus. Talking to Junior, I said, what do you think about me doing something like that? He goes, I would still put like a small air to air in it so that it pre-cools into the air to water, and then everything else is the same cooling system as a GT500 or a ZR-1, air to water. So pre-cool it with a small air to air, and then do the rest the way you're thinking. And he thinks that's going to be a good way of doing it. So we could talk about all that shit, because I'm trying to dump as much stuff on you guys, so we have plenty to talk about. Headgames says the M3 M4 is such a great car, would fuck up anything American luxury for power and potential. And again, Headgames Motorworks ports these cylinder heads nonstop. He's probably seeing a lot of them come through. Mustang stuff is now entering that realm where LS was, where the aftermarket is starting to support it. People like Headgames are now porting these cylinder heads, making Gen 1 heads port the same as 350 heads. No aftermarket cast has been used on Coyote cylinder heads yet, meaning Trick Flow, AFR, people like that. They're not even bothering, because this factory cast stuff with a little bit of port work seems to work really well. How easy is it to delete DI specifically on Gen 3s? The problem is this. Ford designed the computer to work with DI. And Lund Racing, as far as I know, is the only company that can tune it without DI. No, you don't just shut off a switch. For those of you that think, HP Tuner says DI equipped, click no, and it just shuts everything off. There's a bunch of hard-coded stuff in the background in the sauce that you have to shut off. And startup's gonna suck. And it's not going to drive. It's not going to start great, and it's going to probably make it basically a Gen 2 at that point, right? So when you have a Gen 2, you basically need the injector supply that raised up, as opposed to Gen 3. With the Gen 3, you can get away with a ID 1050X and have a decent amount of success, up to about 900, close to 1,000, because the DI is slightly supplemental. But when you delete the DI, now the injector requirements of the Gen 3 are going to be the same as Gen 2. So that's one of those things you got to kind of look out for. You don't just delete the DI and think everything's going to work all hunky-dory. Are you going to have to switch to a manual rack and steering knuckle to deal with the alternator, Theo? No. So what are you talking about? So no. So if you look at Power by the Hour kit, Parker, PBH drive kit. If you look at Power by the Hour's kit, they already solved this issue. What the hell? I am not using that website. Fuck you. I love how some websites skim off of the SEO bullshit nonstop. There we go. Perfect. So when you look at PBH's drive, right here, the alternator gets relocated to the top side. The power steering is going to be the potential issue, but Volvo has a electric power steering pump. So all I would do is basically not use their power steering setup. This is exactly what is on Sergio's car, the notchback that has Hush Money's old motor in it. This is what he has going on in it right now. It's like a factory speed drive and a power steering pump going into a rack. But Volvo sells an electric power steering pump. You can delete that, not have that there. Just have the alternator relocated here. Don't have to worry about any turbo stuff. The alternator drive runs the AC stuff off of the rear sheath, and you're going to have a good old time with that. So that's probably what I'm going to run. I already talked to Jake about that. Already got that squared away. The hardest part is going to be basically, well, not really much, because I was able to get the engine harness out of there, and it freed up a lot of room, and it gave me a lot more options. So now I'm thinking I can do a Gen 2 control pack as a Gen 1. I'm shocked the Department of Boost doesn't offer a hat. Sullivan sheet metal intakes, old school, cool. I don't think it's Sullivan, to be honest with you. And who's Shelby Mike, D-Rock Fox? I like how you think everyone knows who Shelby Mike is. I have no idea who the fuck. I thought you were making fun of somebody when you said that. Ford will do something drastic and it'll make a four-door Mustang. And yes, D-Rock Fox, the Mach 4 is potentially going to be that. A GT with 2 more doors. I think that's a winner. If it's tunable. If you're still stupid and you're gonna say, I don't care about the tuning, I just want to whipple on it. Okay, get ready for bad sales. I'm glad you said people don't care about the sound, because I've yet to see an M2, M3, M4 that sounds good. Right, if you don't care about the sound, I care about the sound. MB says, oh, I'm not. I'd never own a BMW again without a warranty. Just pointing out that your issues may be your issues. They take money to keep alive, but they are fantastic motors for making moderate stuff, moderate power. As much as I hate them, Holly makes a nice low ram intake you can use with a tick air to water. Listen to what you just said. Listen to what you just said. I have to buy a tick air to water thing, and then I have to buy a Holly thing. Or I can just buy the metal intake that bolts onto my existing Department of Boost blower. Department of Boost manifold and blower supplier, he doesn't mess with turbo stuff. He does not. But look, I think MFP of Australia actually is on the right track. But again, I'm not going to pay $4,000. I'm sorry. Like, you know, I'm not going to pay $4,000 fucking dollars for that shit. I'm going to use what I have. And I know there's stuff in the market that I can use. So people need to understand that I'm not going to go out of my way of paying $4,000 or $5,000 for a fucking air to water intake that mounts on top of the motor. And I'm not a big fan of an intake that mounts a air to water intake that mounts on top of a motor. Now, people are going to say, but this guy has it, this guy has it. Think about it. Think about it. If you have a supercharger or a turbo that goes into a big air to air, pre-cools everything, then the charge temperature is generally happy, as opposed to turbo right into something that's on top of an engine. And the intercooler area is small. And you have to what? Run ice through it? Or do you run a heat exchanger like a GT500 does? I'm one of those guys that I'm not going to make 40 pounds of boost. I'm going to make at most 20 if it's twin turbo. So air to water with a heat exchanger and pre-cool it with an air to air. That's the way I would do it, as long as it's small enough. So I'm going to go find, what's the name of it? MFP. Main Force Performance. They posted something the other day of a guy that, perfect. Wow, this is great. So this is something that they posted on their Instagram page. While Matt has been off work injured, our CNC wizard has been refreshing the drawings of our Billet water to air Coyote intake and put some spin on it with the turbocharged style intake lid. All I want is the lid. If the lid is able to bolt on a GT500 bolt pattern, that's all I want. Nothing else. That's it. I mean, again, there's certain things I want to run, certain things I don't want to run, certain companies I want to support, certain companies I don't want to support. So, don't blame me for trying to, do my own thing. And look, depending on who you use. See, I dislike the practice of claiming you had something to do with your with a project if somebody bought your stuff. So let's say, for example, UPR. Let's say I bought the UPR control arms and didn't tell anyone about them. Put it on UPR stuff, and it ran a number, and I won an event. And then UPR goes, this guy is a UPR racer and won with our parts. I'm like, whoa. I could have done it with Team Z. I could have done it with Maximum. I could have done it with, Lakewood, Slapper Bars, whatever. I just happened to choose yours. I don't like that practice of people claiming, like, look what happened when Lund Racing won. And again, I'm not trying to throw shade. You know what? I'm not even going to mention it because companies are goofy. I don't like people claiming that they had a part in my victory just because I chose their parts. If you gave me the parts, completely different thing. Always heard good stuff about doing the Volvo pump. Yeah, the Volvo power steering pump. If you guys saw the video that I made on the Fox Body reunion, that was the first video back then. Javier Leva, goes by the name of Kiko here in Florida, has a 85 Gen 3 Coyote Swap LX hatch, and it had an electric pump, and he keyed on and was able to steer it no problem. I said, yeah, that's a winner. Ran into that stuff on the swaps we did, saw the alternator arrow was really tight on your update video. Shelby Mike makes the best timing guides, in my opinion, of that MMR shit. I don't know who Shelby Mike is. I just found the one that's seen on Facebook for sale about 4 years ago. It was made by Evolution Performance and Intake Adapter. Yeah, I need to find that thing, see if anyone has one. What happens when 1320 sees a Coyote Swap ZR-1? Do you think they'll interview Alex? Fuck no, they won't. They better not. Sullivan sells the intake manifolds, which give you 4150 mounting plate, and there's I already got that. I literally have that. Peasant Chat is at its finest, right? People are not thinking in terms of real estate. What room is available versus how much room a component takes up. I think a lot of people think they know how much room is in a C6 engine compartment, and they have no idea. They just look at it from the top and go, Jake is in the know, in the pocket, high level. When he saw the Corvette, he was like, oh, got under it. Oh, okay, I see. All right. He saw the brakes. He goes, what the fuck's going on with the brakes? He's looking at the thing and he's like, I think you could go twin turbo. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, right down here. And I was like, we'll see. He doesn't have the time to fuck with it. But if Ryan does, and we can package it in a way where everything is under the car, not by the back, that would be the best in my opinion. The Motion Raceworks is the Motion is one of those people that, like, if you install their sticker, they say Motion Raceworks equipped car. And again, not throwing shade because they throw money at everybody. Not that I'm going to win an event, because that's like so far back here. Like, I don't care about winning events or drag racing in general. But at the end of the day, oh, here we go. Josh actually put something up on the chat. What the fuck is this? What? $3,000? Boy, you are sucking that dick hardcore. Wait, that's the whole thing. Oh, that's the upper intake. Boy, he said $3,000. Get the fuck out of here. You sucking that dick. So, I'll show you what they posted. Thank you, Parker. Parker's been a great addition to Lund Racing. Just awesome. He's hit the ground running. So you'll see his name pop up. So apparently this is the lid. Yeah, no, fuck all that. $3,000. You can suck my cock. You're telling me that's $3,000? Jake can make something. Jake can probably 3D print that, and we can do something. Not that specifically, but we could probably make something else work. But that is ridiculous for $3,000. Boy, you are smoking that good shit. If you think that's worth $3,000 fucking dollars, I don't give a fuck how much you think it's worth. $3,000, eat that. Yeah, no way. Literally not gonna happen. So you're saying if I buy a set of Viking shocks, I'll have an idiot saying that I'm yes, exactly, Nardo Mercado. If you buy Vikings, they're gonna want to know if they were like ever touched or another sticker was placed on them by a fucking retard. Alex, let me check Plasma Man. Benston is a dealer for them, and I believe he told me they can do an intake for the GT500. This is the good thing about having a network like this, Craig Walls. If you guys can get me something that bolts onto a 07 to 2014 GT500 intercooler, the bolt pattern, let me know. But if Plasma Man's probably going to be another $5,000 too. Again, I get it. You got to pay to play, and I don't mind paying, but there's certain things I'm willing to pay for. Certain things I think are overpriced. Just saw Lee Zeldin toting Randy's wheelbarrow from South Park. What? On X? Get out of here. Let's go see. Let me see Lee Zeldin. Lee Zeldin. Really? Where? He's toting wheelbarrows from South Park? Where? I think he's being funny. Okay, I went on X and I didn't see anything of a meme or anything, because the meme culture from this administration is pretty on point. So you gotta give them respect. But that's why the C6s are such crazy lightweight platform. Sitting back and watching the peasants try to give Theo a stroke on top tier entertainment. Right. Upper plenum only. Yeah, upper plenum only. There's a reason it don't sell. That's FU money for the lid. It is $3,000. Come on, that's the cheapest turbo intake for the 5.8. Unfortunately, then there's a reason it didn't sell that much. Look, because I have access to certain people, I could probably have something made for a lot less. Literally, a plate, bolt pattern, weld something, and a flange. It don't got to be made of billet. It just got to hold 20 pounds of boost. So it'll be interesting to see what we come up with. 3D print model and go. Exactly. Jake could be like, I could do that. And I can have my guy make it. We got a bell housing to fit a modular motor to a torque tube. It didn't cost me even $1,000. Listen again. A QuickTime bell housing that bolts up to a Mustang engine bolt pattern that goes to the torque tube did not even cost me $1,000. So you're telling me I'm not one of these guys that touts how much I spent. If I see Plasma Man, if I see that intake, and I'm like, no, that could be made for like $800 to $1,500. It could be made. I'd rather do that. Just don't let the Corvette end up at a shop untouched like the Fairmont was done at one point from Buddy. Never. I've already talked to a couple of shops that I trust, and the main one that I trust right now, because they're local, is Thunder. Thunder Autosports is going to get my 13 GT. We're going to put Maximum Motorsports control arms, anti-roll bar, and the relocation brackets with the Vikings all in one shot. Probably next week. I just can't do it. My body is slowly saying, bro, you can't do the gym and work on cars at the same time. So I'm not going to give up the gym to work on cars because I'll end up like every fat fuck that has his pants falling off and a big old gut. I don't ever want to become that guy. Is it like $200 for the whole swap if you source from the junkyard? The Volvo electric power steering mod is well worth it. Sitting here thinking about turbos would be better for your combo since you're not going to mess with the gears. Correct. I'm not going to mess with the gears, and I am not ever drag racing this car. You understand? Launching a ZR-1 is silly to me unless you configure it for that. And then you got to fuck with the whole rear end, the axles. This thing's a roll car, basically. Twin turbos go in the fenders by the badges. If you want them up front, I'm not going to put anything in the fenders. It's going to go out the back. And I don't care how small I got to make them. No fucking way am I putting turbos in the fender. Even though there's room. I know it. There's room. I see it. But I'm not doing that. I'm late. How we doing? Emery says Killshot. Killshot. By the way, Killshot got me these. I think it was Killshot. So this is going to be for the GT500 Section 8. Got me these AFCOs. Double adjustable there, adjustable there. We're going to get these installed, get it aligned. The car's getting registered next week, so it'll be street legal, and I'll be able to get you guys some hits and videos on this. This is pretty stuff. Some AFCO racing struts for GT500 or S197. And he got me single adjustable Strange for Donnie. And that'll go on Donnie. Pretty nice. I mean, the guy's a good guy. So shout out to you people. And that's the nice thing about having a network like this. You can support people and they support you and just go from there. Put that $3,000 towards the turbo setup. Turvey's funny. Alex having a stroke trying to find an intake for the ZR-1 Killshot Racing. You sure don't want to go blow through carb on that still? Everyone thought, even Junior, was like, I swear to God, I thought you were going to go carburetor when I saw that thing. I'm like, no, it's just a picking point. That's all it was. I needed something like a picking point to make that thing work. So someone said, Parker sent me this. He goes, yeah, Shelby Mike Racing. Hey, cool, no problem. I'm just not paying $3,000 for that. Why don't I want to pay $3,000 for that? Because I don't think it's worth $3,000. No offense, and I think I want to support you, and I hope you sell a bunch of them. Alejandro Flores, knowing materials, knowing the people I have contact with, can get that made for about $1,500 or $1,000. Alex, have a turbo hat. I can send you, but it has a GT500 throttle body adapter. I don't know if that works for you. I don't think so either. Did you guys remember the Cobra? That's an interesting one too. So let me look that up. I gotta find how the fuck do I look that up? So 6R80 Cobra. Oh, there it is. Here it is. Man, you know what's crazy? When I look back on my stuff, I'm blown away at the shit I did. I am so blown away at the stuff I've done. I've covered it all, and I can't imagine anyone saying, "Oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about." So this is Senior's Cobra that went on the dyno way back in the day. Let's cap it down to 20. Okay. So see, he has something similar. Like, so you know what? Sullivan does make that intake. So Sullivan makes a 5.8 41 feet. You're right. I have the Coyote version. You know what? You guys are right. Wait a minute. I have that. Wait a minute. Let's do some thinking. Wait, guys, let's do some thinking. I have that. I literally have that. So, okay, hold on. Let's do some thinking. I already have that. Let's do some thinking live. Fuck it, we'll do it live. So let me go here and here. Oh, okay. The problem is I won't be able to use the air to water. That's it. I won't be able to use the air to water intercooler if I do that. So let me see. Here you go. Perfect. Yeah. So that's going to be the problem. If I use this as my inlet, there's no intercooling happening. You know what I mean? So there's no intercooling happening here. I'd have to have a big, massive air-to-air somewhere in the front. What I'm trying to do is keep it as low profile as possible. You see right now it's kind of high, right? And it's already line on line with that hood. With the Department of Boost, it sits a lot lower, and I'm able to get a elbow in there, potentially, that goes forward. So I'll probably just do that instead. Okay, because I was like, wait a minute, let me do some thinking. But Senior literally had a Sullivan intake, with a GT500 bolt pattern elbow on it. That car made 1,000 real horsepower and like 20 PSI. So that's exactly what I would do. Jim, and working on cars with a full-time job, we don't blame you. Yeah, it's almost impossible to do. Try Send Cut Send. It's a website you can design pieces of whatever material you want, and they'll make it and ship it to you. I don't know if that'd be a good option, but yeah. So Jake has access to all these guys that can make stuff. So I'm going to be like, Jake, okay, I'm going to see what the people out there come up with. If everyone's like, Alex, the only one available is the one from Shelby Mike, no problem. And shout out to him. I just don't want to pay $3. That's crazy to me. That's psychotic. So I'm not going to pay that money. Yeah, the problem, Craig Walls, I won't have intercooling. The whole package problem is if I have the Sullivan intake with, it would sit so high, it'd be kind of crazy. I have a front mount heat exchanger. I'll give you free. I got plenty of stuff. Parker, I appreciate you. I got so much stuff. It's not even funny. Big ups, Kill Shot Racing. Yeah, badass stuff. Instead of turbos, how about a torque storm? Fuck no. Just slap some plate together, throw a throttle bottom out, and send it. I mean, it's when you think about it, it doesn't have to be made out of anything. All it has to do is fit the bolt pattern and have the air reach it with a stock throttle body bolt pattern. I mean, Jake is he likes that thought process. We have dinner once a week, and we sit there and we talk, and then we brainstorm. He's building a twin turbo Voodoo for his wife in a 96 Cobra. And, we just by talking to him for a little bit, he just kind of, his mind starts working. And I'm sure on the way up to when he went away for a little bit, he's like thinking about the whole situation. So I think I have options. Yeah, no air to water. Exactly. So that's the whole thing. If I can find one of those used, like a Shelby Mike intake or something like that, cool. But that's the thing, right? If you're going to buy a $3,000 intake, don't you dare say that, hey, he's running my intake. I paid for it. I don't have to advertise for anybody, but I think I can have something made for under $1,500 that'll work just as good. So I'm not really about that life. Peasant Chat is legit today. Didn't ProCharger have a manifold setup for the 4-valve pre-Coyote? I don't know. But the thing is, you're going to go into the matrix finding that stuff. So around that time was when forums were really popular. And the problem with forums is, a lot of the stuff is archived to save room and space. So you can't go back and click on a page that you remember back in 2005, 6, 7 were popping, or maybe 10, 11, 12. I think 2010 to 2015 was like the glory years for a lot of those pages, and then all of a sudden slowly kind of, tapered off to become Facebook, and then it became YouTube basically. But a lot of the pictures that you relied on builds and build progresses and stuff. Remember when forums had build progresses and you would go to sleep, wake up, and hope that the guy uploaded 4 or 5 pages of his build process and with pictures? I used to follow that shit all the time. I thought it was cool. But now with YouTube, you can just see video and see. But the problem is this. I'm starting to notice this on YouTube a lot. The fucking commercials in between. Like right now we're talking, again, if you're a paid premium member of YouTube, you don't have commercials, but I'm talking about the read-in commercials. Like let's say I'm talking to this about this and then, and guys, what? When I get thirsty, I love Dark Horse wine. And then you take 3 minutes of a commercial, read-in commercial. I hope I never have to do that. It's just a 6 twin turbo 350 build good. Don't know. Don't care. Intake made of ABS plastic. Don't forget about the S63 twin turbo V8. That's the M5A Eurotrips. Hit live on your ship. What's up, Chuck? We got to talk about that elbow because the only one that seems to be available is a $3,000 intake. And no, that's not going to happen. Alex, what about a Gen 3 intake and front mount air to air? I could do that. Use the Department of Boost lower on the other cars. I could do that. That is still an option. But at that point, okay, it's about packaging. You want it to fit under the hood. The 18 or Boss Manifold, in my opinion, are non-starters. And it's literally visual. I know you guys are going to be, who cares how it looks? I care how it looks. I care how, because if you're going to have a 18 manifold on top of a motor, you're going to go, if you have a Boss intake on top of a motor, you go, if you have like some funky looking thing on top of an air to water intercooler, I look at it and go, that's cool. You know what I mean? It's about me and packaging. And let's be honest, the 18 manifold is not something I want to even fuck with. But the other thing is the intercooling. If you see where the C6 ZR-1 or any C6 gets its airflow from, it's not from the bottom up unless you remove that shroud, which is removed. But the problem is going to be this. Am I now going to overpressurize everything under the hood because it's getting the air from the bottom? Probably. There's a reason that they have that shroud there, and it's to prevent from pressurizing the engine bay and then having the hood come up and do some weird shit. So that's something that I'm going to have to definitely mitigate in the future. Forum days were badass, man. I miss late model mayhem, but that wasn't a forum. That was YouTube. That was Facebook. It's going to be a sad day when these forums go away. Well, I think out of all of the forums, the one that could make a comeback is SVT Performance. The only reason I say that is because it's the biggest one, the one that had the best high-end cars. Shelby guys loved it. So Shelby guys can keep some stuff alive because, let's be honest, Shelby guys generally have some money. And they didn't necessarily shun GT guys, especially when GT started really rolling the fuck out. Coyote, when it first came out, were all over SVT Performance. Whereas Stangnet and Corral were mostly Fox body forums. And the SVT Performance was mostly SVT. So that's Cobra, GT500, Lightning. So modular or overhead cam. So you were able to at least crowbar your way in there if you had Coyote stuff too, because, at least you had something in common. 30-second bullshit ads, especially with that ZR-1 hood, got to put something good looking under that glass. And that's for me. That's not for anybody else. I'm doing it for me. I don't want a Boss intake on this thing. I don't want an 18 manifold on this thing. I think it'll look cheap. And I think a hat styled with a air-to-water intercooler, I think will look better. People will be like, what the fuck? And I can probably put the stupid ZR-1 engine cover on it. Like make little dowel things or little standoff things and just put it on there so people are like, what the fuck is going on here? Coyote Kelly says, I wonder if someone has ever taken the rotors out of a hurt blower and hogged it out to use as an intake. Yeah, many people have. So there's a guy who used to race NMRA, and he took the Whipple supercharger itself, removed the rotors from it, and used it as an air-to-water intercooler with a big Pro charger. And it was a way of getting around certain rules, if I'm not mistaken. And it was actually kind of interesting because Whipple, Odin, Edelbrock, any of the flipped blowers that have the rotors on the bottom and the intercooler on the top, if you don't have anything in there, aka no rotors, you can shove all the boost in there and use the existing brick and everything to cool it if you have an ice tank. So I don't know what kind of rule he was able to bend by doing that, but it was interesting that he did do that. The air-to-water will make it less complex, and he already has the pumps and heat exchangers. Turbo piping will also be shorter. Exactly. If I can go air-to-water already integrated, the ZR-1 has a tank for an air-to-water intercooler. The ZR-1 has a pump for an air. It's already mounted. It's stock. So all I have to do is plumb stuff to an existing air-to-water, which the Department of Boost kit should do. Now, if I have to find myself a Roush style one where it comes out in the front, I'll do that too. That's not a problem. And then I can use the Department of Boost stuff for Donnie. Because if I don't use the Department of Boost stuff for the ZR1, it'll go to Donnie. But I am very close to getting a supercharger kit for Donnie because I'm getting close to running 11.7, 11.6 NA. And I think that's where I should stop, because anything above and beyond that requires higher revs, camshafts, and weight reduction. And I don't want to do any of that stuff to Donnie. Can you do what Dodge guys do and buy a blower and use it as an intake manifold? Again, if you put a blower on, it's not going to fit. You saw the video, right? Did you see the video? Did you see that the Magnuson supercharger sticks up way above the cylinder head? I thought it was pretty low, but then I actually went to the GT500 and went, oh no, it sticks up kind of high. It won't fit under the stock hood. Ron Shearer needs to make you something for an intake, says Headgames Motorworks. Hey, start talking to people. I don't know. So you want it to look expensive, but not be expensive. Don't we all, Theo? No. Who said expensive? Expensive and unique are not mutually exclusive. You can make something unique that you could think out of the box, but that doesn't mean I have to buy what's on the market. That's $3,000. You and I both know the price is set ridiculously high, because when you look at margins, do you think it costs $3,000 to, let's say, make something out of billet? How much is a big hunk of billet? And then you pay for the machine work. And then you say, okay, how much margin is in it? I guarantee those intakes cost $1,200 to make. $1,200 to make. So you price it high so that you have margin in it and make money. What's up, everyone? Just woke up, says B Turby Racing. Did some cage building on my car last night. No way you did, because you have a Holly Haram logo. And Turby did not pay a dime for it. This, in my opinion, is EPA. Yes, Eric Bardakov. I think that's what the Mopar guys do when they turbo the Hellcats. No, they have a, if you look at the one that's most notable, who's all over the internet talking that shit, I love it because he doesn't care, is Ripa tuned. And again, I don't know him, but he currently tunes the quickest, fastest Trackhawk in the world. And he showed some engine bay pics, and he has a custom hat that goes in those things to, look, twin turbo Hellcats are badass. Let's be honest. Twin turbo Hellcats, that's all they needed. They needed to get rid of the supercharger, and they became Billy badass. So this is the setup for the twin turbo Trackhawk that went 8.2. This is a sheet metal intake, air to water, and they call it the Gap Hawk. And oh my lord, shut the fuck up. Yeah, so there you go. It has a air to water situation on it. And it's crazy that the Hellcat motors, look at Demonology. He got rid of the supercharger bullshit, went twin turbo, and it went faster than it went faster than it has ever gone by a lot. Not by a little bit, by a lot. Holly part number 30910, a high ram intake manifold. That you don't get it. You're not listening to the intercooling part of this thing. I'll never complain about my Harbor Freight ads. Speedmaster makes a nice Fab Coyote manifold to run the adapter plates from Department of Boost. Speedmaster makes a nice Fab Coyote manifold to run then run adapter plates for Department of Boost. Gotcha. If you go twin turbo with the turbos mounted by the bell housing, I guess intake piping is going to be tough. I guess that's why you have Ryan though. Yeah, Ryan's going to have a bit of a tough time, I'll be honest, with the ZR-1 twin turboing it and running piping. So we'll see, because the packaging is going to suck. I want it to be easy to work on. Senior's Grey Goose has a bunch of room in the front, so they put the turbos and piping going forward and down, not only keeping the weight forward on the nose and low, but the piping is big, extended, and literally doesn't even have one-to-one back pressure at 45 pounds of booster. So chunk of billet's expensive. Machining is time consuming. How much? Because we'll see. Hey, Alex, I'm 17, says Michael McLeod. By the time I'm 18, I'll be buying an 11.4 GT, and I want to know what should I be looking for mods for a 650 horsepower daily. So my black car, Michael McLeod, if you go back in time on my channel, the black car was at 650 rural horsepower for 5 years or 4 years. TVS, 79 millimeter pulley, 52 pound injectors, pump gas, PMAS cold air intake. 650 on pump gas all day, and I beat it like it owed me money, and that car was amazing. I love that car. That car never skipped a beat motor-wise. Rip was awesome. Only if you knew where Mr. Loftus' hands were when he shook their hand. Oof. Headgame says, there's a minimum 15-hour machining billet intake in a $350,000 machine. No way it doesn't cost more than that to make it. It takes 6 hours. Oh, so they lose money? So they lose money every single time. So Shelby Mike is doing everyone a favor by losing money. Got it. Look, I'm not one of those guys that goes, okay, no, I can make something that works just as good, maybe not as pretty. It doesn't have to be made out of fucking billet, guys. You understand? It does not have to be made out of billet. All I need is this, the plate. Let's start with the plate. Plate that has the bolt pattern for the GT500 lower. Sheet metal shit with a flange for a stock throttle body. How much do you think a fabricator can make that for? All it needs to hold is 20 PSI at most. McLeod, Build Series Gen 1 Racing Channel. Exactly. Build Series Gen 1 on the channel. Exactly. So if you go back to the Build Series, and again, if you go to my channel, it has everything there. If you go to my channel, view your channel. Okay, so this is how the channel looks when people show up to it. Okay? So when you go to YouTube, that's where you go. You click on playlist. Then you go to sort by ZR Coyote Swap Gen 3. Gen 1 combos. Hey guys, it's Alex. How you doing? And today what we're going to do is talk about... Oh my god, you sound like an idiot. Let me see. I think it says Gen 1 boosted. Gen 2, Gen 3, sort by... That's interesting. It does Gen 3 combos, Gen 2 combos. Why don't the playlists show up like they show up in my thing? My playlists show up in a completely different way. Interesting. So let me see. Hey guys, it's Alex. How you doing? And today what we're going to do... Pause, motherfucker! God damn it. Why don't you pause when I fucking tell you to pause? There we go. I think to go... Oh my god, my voice is annoying. 10s in any Gen 1 6R80 Coyote. Oh, you know why? It's because I'm yelling into the mic. I'm yelling into the camera, so my voice goes up an octave or two. 10 pounds of boost is all you need, or if you're a nitrous person... That's when my tooth was fucked up. Look at closely and see if I could zoom in. One of these teeth were acting up. Looking back at those, I'm like, man, I remember when I was talking weird for a whole year, and people were wondering why. Chuck, funny story. I know exactly where your old black car is right now. Yeah, some guy bastardized it, put twin turbos in the front. It looks like a full-out race car, and I'm like, don't care. Yeah, the plate's easy. Okay, so Headgames. Plate's easy, right? Now you get a guy that makes a sheet metal thing with a bolt pattern, a stock throttle body bolt pattern on it. Tell me how much did that cost? Not $3,000. I posted the exact example on the Patreon. Peasant Chat. Let's go to Patreon. Patreon's great. Patreon is, again, $15 a month if you want to go in there and talk shit. And there is a Peasant Chat. So for the free guys that are brokies and don't want to pay the kid $15 a month to get all the information and have access to all these people that we have access to. Yeah, look at that. Alfredo Diaz. Exactly. You guys go, oh, that's ugly. Yeah, you can make it look better. But this is basically what we're talking about right here. Right? Obviously, you can make it look better. But plate, sheet metal, make it maybe swoop a little bit, have a guy TIG it. make it pretty. Look at that. Right? That's all you don't need all the fucking fancy shit, but you can make it look a lot better than that, right? So I'm not going to, it's going to make power. Who cares? Carlos Duran says, MMR used to make a sheet metal intake plan to adapt it back in the day for turbo setups. A capable fab shop can have you done. 1320 video Kyle says, does anyone have the same, some seats I can sniff? Some flanges, good TIG, then off to Pound Town. Exactly. That's because you wasn't yelling at the camera. Exactly. That's got to be EPA. Got to be EPA. Man, just go back to Hutch Welding. Yeah. Okay. I love them, but what I paid to have the oil pan done, I will not be using him. I love him. I was like, bro, you just taking advantage because I'm a YouTuber? Jake was like, how much did he charge you? I'm like, this much. He's like, I know. I paid it. Thank you. See you later. Just curious how the fitment for the water ports on the back of the intercooler from the Department of Boost. So what I would probably have to run is adapted lines. I am not running 1-inch lines. Sorry. Not 1-inch lines, like 2-inch lines. They're big. So I would run basically adapted down to something stock size. Because again, it's heat exchanging. It doesn't have to flow a bazillion miles an hour. It just has to have, flow. So I'm not looking to go super crazy, but it has 2 massive ports in the back, and I have to, adapt it down to a line that's normal. That live talking about GTD will forever live on because of that tooth. Yeah, Jill, my God. I couldn't say GTD. So I had like a retainer in my mouth, right? And my mouth was swollen because I had my wisdom teeth pulled out, and I did a show that day. I did a show the day after my wisdom teeth got pulled out and teeth were missing. I had a root canal, I had teeth gone, I had a retainer situation, and I had swelled up cheeks like a chipmunk. That shit was wild, but the show's got to go on. He sold one for $400. Alex, I bought a 12 GT from an auction, a 6R80 with a ported boss intake manifold, and I think it has a stock tune. Is there a way I can check to verify? Ooh, how do you verify there's a stock tune on a Mustang? A 2012. Shift points? Nah, that's not a real way of verifying. How do you verify you are on a stock tune on a 6R80 Gen 1? That's a great question. I don't know. I would say slam the rev limiter and see what it does. But that's probably not the smartest thing to do. Since it's a turbo car, you will use a stock GT throttle body? Yes, Amir Z here. Why? Stock GT throttle bodies have gone 6s. Brian Luna has a bone stock throttle body in the Blue Beam. Welders be like, well, I put a single stitch weld, that'll be $900. Pay me for the experience, not my time. Yeah, it's like that story with the guy with the hammer. All right, let's say this boat is adrift or this boat doesn't work somewhere, and then the guy I see both sides of the coin. I see the experience payment, but okay. And again, not trying to be like King Daddy or anything, but if you are in my circle or I have the ability to touch you, meaning, and I reach out to you and I say, hey, here you go, do this for me. And then you severely overcharge me. I go, oh, you definitely don't want business. You definitely don't want return business. You can bush those big lines down easily. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Alex, I have that one that Alfredo Diaz posted. Shelby Mike Billet plate. I can send you that one for free. Alex, I have that one that Alfredo Diaz posted. Shelby Mike Billet plate. Wait, you have the one that Alfredo Diaz posted is not a Shelby Mike Billet plate. This is not that, but it would probably work. I think I want to see what the people that I have access to can make. You know what I mean? No offense. I want to see what we can come up with, but I don't want to just have my hand out. I'm willing to pay people, but not $3,000. Plug it into a VCM2 and see if it'll connect. There you go. I don't know. How did you get a retainer right now? I'm waiting on. I don't know how you did. I got a retainer right now waiting on permanent. Yeah. I don't know how. Yeah, the talking was difficult, and I was afraid it would pop out the whole chat. Dude, for a year, that I had that in there. I had that in for a year. I was afraid it would pop out. It was awful. If it's tuned, the factory strategy will likely get scrambled. The VCM, not necessarily, Parker. Some HP tuner guys use the stock strategy. Well, if you hook up Ford IDS and can't connect, for sure it has aftermarket tune. Not necessarily. A lot of HP tuner guys draw the stock file, reverse it, and go back in. Not everybody has the ability to scramble the file. Lund does, but not everyone has the ability to scramble the file. I was about to say, remember you showed Brian Luna's setup at Texas 2K. Did transmission fluid yesterday? Never again. My hand's burnt. Gonna pay somebody next time. Maybe he's talking about the intake plate. I know you work for Lund now at Parker Performance. Still play with any EcoBoost? Parker's a very competent, tech. So, if he wants to do side work, I don't see any conflict there. Zero conflict. I mean, as long as he is. Yeah, I don't see any conflict there. Imagine if someone could make you an upper arm that looks like a stock LS9 blower lid. Ooh, it would look. Whoa! That's interesting. I never thought about that. Yeah, like again, the nice thing about the ZR-1 project is you have, room for shenanigans, right? I'm not doing it to troll anybody. A lot of people are like, oh my God, Alex is a hero to the Mustang community. No, I don't give a fuck about the Mustang community. I have access to Coyote motors like a motherfucker. I can get them. And if I want to pay for a Billy Badass, look, let's say for instance, this motor that's going to go in there, which is a Gen 3 bottom end, Gen 2 heads, Gen 2 cams, locked. Let's say this thing makes 900 without even sneezing at it, and it lasts a little while. And I said, you know what? It's vetted as fuck. Let's turn it up. I go FFRE. Get me one of your shits, or make it VCT, whatever Junior wants to do. Because let's be honest, like you want to make the guy, you want to get help, so you have to configure the car in a way that the help that you have has less problems with it. So he's like, yeah, VCT. And okay, put it in there and let's go for 1,200, 1,300. Then that car is going to be a nasty roll car because the goal with that car is probably to be in the threes, 60 to 130. I don't think that car is ever going to be a badass roll car per se, but if I was going to enter in any event, it'd be half mile and roll. That's it. No drag racing. Fair, didn't think of that. Just did a big turbo install one last week. Good for you. Parker PPD performance. Yeah, that would be that would be the craziest thing. We'll tap in a few months. Keep the Gen 1. We'll tap in a few months. Keep the Gen 1 Coyote for street and eco for the circuit. What are you going? Are you just going to shove the Coyote ECU under the hood in the Vette? Again, unless you've seen how it's configured, you don't really understand. I can put the computer in the fender. Remember where the dry sump used to be on the Corvette? There is now a cavern in there. There is a huge, massive area you can just mount stuff in. So I can take the computer, mount it off to the side, not be an issue. I can run accessories. I can run a whole bunch of stuff. And because I deleted a lot of stuff that I didn't need, now there's a lot of room in the front. So there is room for activities. If you go to the Lee C parts channel, the guy who built the twin turbo Corvette and a Hellcat Swap 350Z and the Lee C whatever. Look at the C8 ZR1 he was fucking with and how much room there was in front of it once you took out all the shenanigans, because C6 Corvette radiators were mounted like this, like sideways. So if you mount everything straight up and keep it low profile, you have a bunch of room in the front. And I think that's what he did with the radiators. He had twin air to water. I guess I'm going to have to go to his channel. I don't want to copyright my shit. Lee C something. Lee C something. There we go. Scrap Life Lee. Okay.
This Corvette.
Okay. Yeah. Let me see. Let's see if there's room for activities. There we go. So if you look at the channel, he had room once he removed a bunch of bullshit. You see what I mean? In the fender here, there's a bunch of room for activities. Here, in there, that's hollow. So you can absolutely put stuff in there. So there's a lot of room. And they were able to stuff an LS with front-mounted twin turbos in it. and showing the fact that the C6 does have room to play with in the front. Let's see. Oh man, I wish I could see a wide angle. Why don't they show this wide angle? I want that wide angle. That one doesn't show it. There we go. So yeah, I mean, they were able. Look, the motor ends here, right? The motor ends there, and then all this shit in the front. So they have room. So when I saw that on this channel, I said, wait a minute, I could do turbo stuff. So there's another video where they actually show the radiator mounting. I wish they had this on playlists. Here we go. I wish they had videos showing the radiator mount stuff. They had a video where they plumbed all of the radiator stuff when the nose was not on it. And this thing made good power, but not like astronomical power. But yeah, this thing has a ton of room in the front. If you take this stuff out, there's a cooler here. So there's room. So I wouldn't really worry about engine bay room on the ZR-1. I think there's going to be room for activities that I think you guys are going to be surprised about. Zero plans to reopen Parker Performance in any way, shape, or form. Looking at converting my e-com site to a blog site only. Leave my data post for the community, but that's it. Yeah, look, you know how difficult it is, Parker Performance, to run a shop, but not just a shop, a profitable shop. That's why I'm blown away when a lot of shops claim that this is how we make our money. If you were an installation shop, there is no way on God's green earth you're making a lot of money unless you are pumping out volume. Let's say, for instance, you have a 5-bay shop and you do Whipple installations every day. You got to pump out like 10 or 15 a week to have the margins make sense. And then on top of that, you have to sell other product because you're not only paying taxes, workman's comp, rent, electric, supplies, insurance, everything. There is no way. Look, when I see a shop saying that they're only a shop and they're balling, I'm like, I think there's shenanigans back there. Been there, done that. Division agent, passing chat submission on my 24 Mustang stainless works LTH and redline exhaust. I took one high flow cat off, but left the other one to get unique sound volume. Will it cause damage? You're lying. Division agent, you're lying. Ain't no way you left one cat on. Ain't no way you left one cat on and the other one off. Ain't no way. Ain't no fucking way. Not even going to entertain that. If you can verify this, please post pictures so I can have roast material for about a year. Just sent that sandwich Intercooler on Instagram. Oh my God, these motherfuckers are always sending shit on Instagram. Come on, man. That's the Toto place, and you sending stuff there. That's the Toto place. What the hell? What the fuck is this? I don't want that. Why the fuck would I? Why? What the fuck is that gonna do? What's it mount to? Okay, this is what he sent me. Like, what is that? Okay. I don't even know what that does. Like, why? I don't know. Sorry. I don't get it. The ZR-1 build honestly opened my eyes to those cars. Used to want one to think they were the baddest things GM ever made, and now I'm like, meh. If you thought the C6 ZR-1 was like this mythical Billy badass car, the only ones that think it's a mythical Billy badass car is the people that have never worked on it. They buy it, they drop it off at a shop, the shop deals with the bullshit, they get keys back to a 1,000 horse car that has 15 meth nozzles, 500 ice tanks, 8,000 fans, lines sticking out from all over the fucking place, chop in, does not drive well, but you're like, badass. But if you're a guy that goes, I have to remove the motor, I have to unbolt the subframe, I have to take the steering rack out, I have to put a cam in it, you're like, this fucking car sucks. And it does. I love the idea of mounting. I mount my knobs on all the time. The opportunity to be a part of London Racing is quite literally a dream come true, and like going from the Little League to the NFL. Looking forward to bringing my value to the LR team. Parker Performance, let me ask you one question, and I've never asked you this, and I want to get your actual thoughts. Based on what you thought versus the reality of the situation, in terms of how many cars we tune, how shocked are you? On the scale of 1 to 10. Based on what, okay, Lund Racing, vendor Lund Racing tunes, big deal, okay. But then you're in the system. Now you are seeing how much I tune, how much Junior, Nardi, and Devin have to deal with. How mind blown were you as to the volume? Sorry, Corvettes, I get my hands on one, try slightly different. Okay. SoCal says, just keep the blower you got and put a cowl hood on it and it'll be done. Turbo stuff sounds going to be a nightmare. No, you don't understand. I can't mount the blower on it. I can't mount a blower on it. We do internal or external wastegates for turbos. Oh, who cares? There's two different homeboys that have liens on their shit. Parker did the right thing, got out of the game. I lost money on almost every month in business. I own another business, real estate, that funded the shortfalls of each month. I didn't take that salary at all, except for 8 months of being open. Exactly. You just don't make money working on cars. That's what Patreon is for. Exactly. The reason semis run air-to-air intercooler turbo is the best way to cool boost. The best way to cool boost is water. There's a reason. There's a reason it's outlawed in many places. Unique sounds like a Subaru. Parker, there's a difference between you and them. You are good. Dude, I gave up on finding a ZR-1 after watching this channel. I hope ZR-1 prices plummet after you realizing that this thing is not a quality car. I owed almost $300,000, paid him down less than $50,000. They're willing to play ball for this last leg of money owed. They just issued a warrant for my arrest over it, trying to pay the full. What the fuck? Hey, don't put out your fucking dirty laundry, bro. Parker, what are you doing? Don't put out dirty laundry. You're part of Lund now. Don't be doing that crazy stuff. It's crazy. 351S Celine is a mythical creature. Alex just installed a thin turbo kit, but left it NA for clout. No way. The kitchen sink builders are the people who watch those build. Okay, the kitchen sink builders and the people who watch those builds, LS, are the ones who think ZR-1s are the ultimate car. Even as an LS guy myself, I saw through the bullshit. Yeah, the LS9 is okay. It is not mythical. It is not bulletproof. It's very good. But the problem is this. Cost of improving that motor is astronomical. Cooling alone will make you broke. Parker says, significantly more volume than I could have ever imagined. Having processed over 9,300 orders myself at Parker Performance, I thought it would have prepared me for the volume, but nothing like it. Yeah, exactly. ZR-1 getting a fluid turbo kit? No, fuck no. Because, well, I don't think it'll fit. The fluid turbo kit comes forward and mounts the turbos in the engine bay and off to the side. And I don't think I have that much room. Fluid turbo concepts. Let's see if they have any under. Oh, they still have logs, but it's T4. You know what? I don't know. We'll see. But I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think it'll fit. I don't think it'll fit, but it'll be interesting if it does. And again, the goal is to make 900 or so. It's not looking to make 1,000 or 1,200. But if Ryan's like, no, we could use stuff, or we could just leave it as is, or he could make stuff. It's got to get custom headers regardless. A lot of OEMs use air to water. It works more efficiently. Good morning. Dropping a like and a cash replay later. ZR-1 is getting an on 3. It's not just the motor, it's the driveline too. Hot take, the driveline sucks in manual Corvettes. A torque tube that you have to upgrade when you put down decent power. Okay? Doing a clutch on it requires you to drop half of the vehicle. Doing a clutch, again guys, the ZR-1 when running right is light and boogies. No different than any car that's light and boogies. If you have to work on it, it's probably the worst vehicle on the planet. Headgames Motorworks used to have a C5. He's like, that thing was a piece of shit. So then I get this and I'm driving it, and I'm telling you guys, when I drove it stock, it was okay until I did a 60 to 130. And I went, this thing is in the 8s? Isn't a stock Coyote in the 9s? And then tuned Coyote, low 9, then 10 or 80 Coyotes in the 7s? I went, nah. Then after porting, pulley, exhaust, tuning, and race gas, I was barely in the 6s or so, and I was like, torque tube is so stupid. The trans up front comes with leaf springs. It does come with leaf springs. Phil Fat says, currently putting a Fore Innovation fuel system on Buddy's Whipple Gen 2. Waited 3 months for this fuel system. Yeah, we need to probably address that with Fore Innovations. We need to ask them what's happening. Where there's smoke, there's fire, unfortunately. And again, you guys, the people, the not you guys, the loyal 184 of you that actually hit the like button, those people know that I'm not paid by Fore Innovations to do anything. I recommend Fore Innovations fuel systems to literally have less issues tuning the car. I've just never seen that many issues. So all of a sudden, I don't see issues with the kit, but I see issues with delivery of the kit. So it's going to open the door. It's the Ford thing. It's going to open the door for other fuel systems to come in there. And the problem is this. Now, people are forced to go with another fuel system. And now, who's going to suffer the most? The tuner. Hey, man, it's running out of fuel system. No way. This is a level X suck a dick with 15. What? This is a level blah, blah, blah with the 500 fuses in it. Like a Ron Williams, what was it called? I forget, whatever. Like, just wires everywhere. Yeah, I don't care. Look at the log. And I love sending you screenshots. Look, this is what I see. Fuel trims, shoo! Spiking. Why does the fuel trim spike? It's trying to add fuel. And it ain't there. Or on Gen 3 and up, fuel pressure dropping. I can't make fuel pressure drop via a tune. How would I do that? If I have no control of the fuel system, the fuel pump drive module tells the pump, turn on. That's it. Key on, turn on. Fuel pumps go. If you have a boost reference fuel system, the little plunger in the fuel pressure regulator starts asking for more pressure from the fuel system. Purely mechanical. Purely mechanical. So don't say, oh, it looks like fuel, you tuned it. I can't add fuel pressure. Fuel pressure. I can add fuel in the math, but that's not the right way to do it. But if fuel pressure is dropping, nothing I can do. 369 watching, 27 likes. I know it's a peasant chat, but y'all broke ass motherfuckers can't afford a like. Remember that rumor about 2-3 years ago about Fore getting hit up by the EPA? It makes us wonder if it was true. Where to put the turbos on Coyote swap? Zervies, real first world problem. Zervies? C5 are just GM Honda Civic built with the Econo box materials. Underwhelming 5.7. I think the Termi Cobra rattles less. Did Parker take the coder's place? No. The heat capacity of water is over 4 times of air. Air to water intercoolers are way more efficient. No, that's why. Look, semi trucks. 3 months? Ouch. I'm over here looking to buy one and hopefully having it in 4 to 5 weeks. Chuck says, supposedly Fore moved locations, then had a major machine go down right after. They're supposedly working on revamping production line and getting back on track. Good. I'm hoping they don't go away because, boy, if you're a tuner, and you hear the following: ID 1050Xs, Fore Innovations Level 3, one hot, 2 on a Hobbs, Fore Innovations fuel rails, dual regulator, 60 on the DI, 50 PSI, boost reference on the PI side, E85, ethanol 1R, built bottom end, 20 pounds of boost, starting on E85, tested and verified. I'm like, oh, here's a tune. Looking good. At 3 pounds. At 3 pounds. Raised rev limiter. Target whatever the fuck boost you want. Done. Get out of my life. If you have another fuel system, are your pumps working? Oh, I hear them. Okay, like, can you test them? Oh man, there's like 500 relays back there. There's 500 relays? Yeah, they gave me basically a blow punk. The control system is a blow punk amplifier. What? They gave me a blow punk amplifier, and the blow punk triggers the second fuel pump via the gain. So how do you... Well, you got to go up on the gain. Okay, then go up on the gain. I guess. I don't know. It's a little better. Okay, well, can you what do you do if you need to upgrade? Well, you go from an 800 watt blow pump to a 1200 watt blow pump. Fuck. I sent my friend who owns a shop the same photo of the Manifold, and I'll get you a prize. I bet 1320 Didios are lurking too. No way, man. It's a Holly Blue pump. What's your honest opinion on Detroit's products? I know Fore is a top dog, but what would be your second option if Fore is not available? So I like Detroit's, but I can't say I co-sign because of what I've seen. Show me a Coyote that showed up to TX2K or FL2K or is running the streets with a triple 500 D-twerk pump, D-twerk regulator, D-twerk fuel rail, like maybe in the ELS world, maybe in the Subaru world, but for whatever reason in the Ford world never caught on. People go from Fore Innovations to an automotive brushless. That's what they do. They don't go from a Fore to a D-twerks. They go from a Fore hat, dash 8 or dash 10 lines, 4 rails, 4 regulators, 4 everything, to an automotive pump with all the Fore stuff. F-O-R-E. Steve Morel. It's like Alex has someone trying to say it every time. Fore is taking a page right out of Whipple's playbook. Wasn't your white car faster than the ZR-1 60 to 130? Yes, just by a little bit, but not at the end. At the end, I went 5.7 with the ZR-1 on a very cold day. That amplifier was hilarious. Fuel system by Radio Shack. Hey, Alex, recently bought a Gen 3 S550 paired with the 10-speed. I plan to keep it stock, but how many miles can I expect on the stock 10 or 80? 100,000, no problem, as long as you don't beat it like it owes you money. Heard you need a more realistic fuel system. We can help. Nice. Better, they give you a Game Boy for a fuel pump controller. Are your pumps bridged? If you drive it normally, it would last a long time. If you dump shit, you would have to replace it after a while. Stock wouldn't be an issue. Yeah, if you have a stock 10 or 80, you're never going to have issues. That bitch is going to last you 100,000 miles. It's going to be a little wonky. It's going to, one day you're going to be like on the highway, ooh, 10th gear, ooh, then it goes 110, and you're like, whoa, what was that? It won't complete the shift. It'll just be like, ooh, boo, boo. And you're like, oh, what the fuck was that? I don't know. Ooh, boo, 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 boo. Or one day you're going to be driving down a Publix parking lot. Ooh. Ooh. What was that? It flared on the 1-2 for no reason. Okay. It just does weird stuff. Now, what happens is typically on a high horsepower vehicle. Listen, guys. Listen, Linda. If you have a very high horsepower vehicle, 800, 850 and up, and you have a 10 R80, and you're racing, you do a trans relearn after every run. Every run. Run, log, trans relearn. Go out there again, log, trans relearn. If you're fucking roll racing, trans relearn, roll, trans relearn, another roll, trans relearn every fucking time if you're making big power. Deech work is hit and miss. Sadly, I agree. Imagine manually turning the knob on the block punk while at wah. Imagine it completes a 10-to-1 downshift. Flares are all too common in the 10 or 80 cars. Clutches are on their way out. Minibot Madman says, my 6R80, my 13 F-150, 3.5 has 147,000 miles. Shifts like butter. Again, the 6R80 was in there before the crazy mile per gallon mandates the EPA was responsible for were instituted. The moment the 10-speed came about, it did not come about because it's better. It did not come about because it's faster. It came about because it requires less power for the engine to propel the vehicle if you have more gear ratio. Hence, better miles per gallon. It's an efficiency thing, not a power thing. Stop thinking it's a power thing. It's an efficiency thing. It just so happens when it's working to be quicker on a roll generally, but then it starts to, the little clutches start to show their rear its ugly head as to the lack of clamping force, and it starts to flare, and clutch material gets into the valve body, and the hall sensors start to get dirty, and it doesn't make complete proper shifts because the clutch material is rolling around, and the valve body is getting dirt in all the sensors and grit in all the sensors, and it's not completing shifts, and it starts to flare, and it starts to do dumb stuff. That's literally what happens. Street Teen says, 13 GT, what could cause the friction point of the clutch to be pretty much on the floor Drives fine, but I know it's not normal. Sounds like your pressure plate could be bad. Just make sure you have fluid levels checked out. Latest Fore TCM TSB in your 10R80 cars. Your trans relearned the shit out of it. Hey, don't rub on it. You trans relearned the shit out of it. I don't think I have that in here. Heavy duty, danger zone. I thought, jelly beans, Canelo, Diddy, diarrhea, too high power, shit deaths. To this day, Mexican dick. Not that guy.
You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're
Do
not
live,
that guy.
Slurping, 4 doors more horse.
Your username on TikTok was 4 doors more whores.
Yes.
Them guts, hit him up. Stunner, fuck you, Raptor, aborting. Stan. If I shall take that, Shug, F yourself into ink taker. No. Prospectus. No, don't have that. That's not it. Bicho. Price is right. Just no, I don't have that. I thought I had. Hey, don't rub on it. You blot that shit. Alpaca. Do you mean trans adaptive reset? Relearn is a 30-60 minute procedure. On the N gauge, it says trans relearn. If it's called something else in an IDS, sure. On HP tuners, it's called the trans relearn. Boy, my typing is on fucking point. Yeah, it could be adaptive reset. Yeah, it could be adaptive reset. Apologies. Adaptive reset. Whatever. The one that takes seconds. The 10R80 in my Bronco is sometimes wonky and it only has 4,800 miles. 10R is great for Sentry though. That's a weird comment. Sentry. It's great for everything. Power adder, even turbo. 97,000 mile Boss 302 with a 6-month-old VMP Gen 3R says 5th gear synchro is out. Wants 22K. Who wants 22K? Seems a little high, but okay. But half tempted to buy and see how much life it has left in it. 97,000 mile Boss with a busted transmission ain't worth $22,000. So fuck all that. 10R80 smells like jelly beans. People don't change their fluid filter enough on the 10R80. See it all the time at the dealership I work in. Turvey's neck tattoo says, just wait for Turvey to get his Mountaineer swapping his Mustang going. He will show y'all the chase is a race or whatever JJ the boss says. Fuck it, just play the Diddy clip. Just clunking now. Just clunking now? Warranted at least? Do you have to marry the N-Gauge to do a trans relearn? I think you do. I think the N-Gauge has to have a married status. But I have actually seen, believe it or not, some N-Gauges able to complete a crank relearn for P3015 codes. P0315 codes, crank relearn on unmarried vehicles. Not all, but I've seen some. We need an outgoing Diddy clip for 1320. Alex, I was going to get a nut. Alex was trying to get a nut, but Kyle fucked it up. F1320, have a good day. Ever since my tuned 6R80 clunks on downshift, is this normal? No. Now, if you have a Gen 1 Mustang and it clunks on downshift, hit up Lund Racing. So on some of our calibrations, depending on how old your 6R80 is, there is a 3-2-1 command. We can just revert that back to stock to make it a 3-1 command. So when you're slowing down, it goes woo, 1. So third gear, 1. Our tune goes woo, second, woo, first, woo. And that 2-1 downshift might go kakunk. Like it might not feel good if the transmission has some miles on it. So what I do is I just revert that back to stock and it goes woo, nice and smooth. So just hit us up if it has a tune that's causing clunking. No apologies. I just wanted to make sure I understood what you meant. Got it. JJ, the winner gets my ass. What's going on with your GF updates? What's happened with the Better projects update? What's going on? What's going on with your GF 500 update? GT 500 update? What's happened with the BetterWhere, the project update? What's going on? What the fuck, bro? Dude, just go on the channel. I've updated everything on the channel. Why do you ask questions when you can literally go on the channel and get updated? Can you do a trans relearn with an RTD? My Fox Body get Gen 3 10R80 transmission drivability is so unpredictable. It seems spot on. You have to use VCM scanner. Yeah, Kyle deleting all comments. Just go keep spamming their shit. So it would make sense to turn off trans adaptive permanently. I don't think so. I think that'll cause more issues, but you can try it. You can try it with an IDS and see if it never learns any bad habits and it shifts well. I can't do it in the tune. You just explained that perfectly. 2011. Okay, then hit up Lund if you're tuned by Lund, and it's the 3-2-1 downshift. Again, I'm going by experience here. We make it 3-1, and it smooths all that out. It's not the transmission mount, Bowman. It's usually the tune. Dude had a stroke. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. So we talked a lot about the ZR-1 potentially going turbo and seeing about that hat that some Shelby guy has. I think I can make it for less than $3,000. No offense. I'm just not looking to spend $3,000 on something. It doesn't have to be made out of billet. So I'll talk to the right people to make sure that we can get that going, because I want all that to fit under the stock hood. I don't want to have to buy another hood for the ZR-1. We also talked about the Cadillac Blackwing CT5 potentially going away because sales are down and Chevy's going to go all electric with the Vistic. It's called a Vistique. Vistique. Well, what a name for a vehicle, and other SUV variants that are kind of taking place of everything. And that's going to suck. If you support new V8 platforms, you're going to have to do something or start supporting older stuff to have a viable business. Or if you're a tuner or if you're a shop that deals with certain cars that are going away like that, because look, the Mustang days are numbered. Based on the sales. They're just numbered. I can't imagine Ford keeping it there and Legacy supporting it if there is no meat left on the bone. And BMW seems to just be making cars everybody wants. Fast sedans, fast coupes, turbo, all-wheel drive, stick, rear-wheel drive, all using a similar platform, proving that if you make a good product, sales go up. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Talk to you Tuesday. Hopefully you guys go and get caught up on the ZR-1 video. It's doing really well for one day in. Having almost 10,000 views is a lot for this channel. So it's nice to see everything rolling nicely. Have a good rest of your